Guys, welcome back to Precision Rifle Network, and we are getting back to shooting. As you can tell from the intro, shooting is what we're here for. Been deviating a little bit on the channel, getting back to just shooting the rifles and telling you about them. That's what we're about. That's what we're going to continue to do. So today I've got a Howa 1500. This is in 308, and it is sitting in an DAYDREAMZ chassis. Now, it came like this from the factory, and I did a previous video on it where I lamented the fact, that's a great word, isn't it? That I didn't really like the chassis all that much. The rifle shot well, but I didn't like the chassis specifically because of the buttstock. I really prefer more of a traditional stock, especially on a bolt action, as opposed to something that probably belongs more on an AR-15. And this, as you can tell, is kind of a mashup. You've got the monolithic rail that's all at the same height. You've got the buttstock that definitely belongs on an AR. You got a grip that's more of an AR type grip. Trying to take what's familiar from the AR-15 world and transfer it over to a bolt gun, it's okay in some instances, not so much in this one. They had a good try, they had a good thought, but I don't particularly like that, so we're gonna switch it to this guy, the KRG Bravo, and we're just gonna see what kind of differences it makes, in my opinion. So here we go. Guys, the first thing we have to do, of course, is to remove the barrel action out of the DAYDREAMZ chassis and get it placed into the KRG Bravo. So that's what we're going to do here first. Set that guy aside for a second while we're working here. I do have a clear rifle, just making sure everybody knows that. All right, let's see. I had those torqued correctly, didn't I? Dang. It does have this little piece that I didn't notice before that's part of their particular rail up top. We may end up switching that out for just a standard rail because I don't know if this is like a 0 MOA or if it's a 20. It actually looks, it looks like it might be a 20, but it's got this little piece sticking out on the front that is specific, proprietary, if you will, to this handguard. I don't really like the look of that, of course, as we drop it into the KRG, but that's what we're going to have to deal with. So let's put those off to the side. Yikes. Just want to make sure that bolt doesn't come up to the point where it doesn't clear properly. Alright guys, I'm going to use the Wheeler fat wrench set, fat sticks I guess they're called, for torquing down my screws. If you guys are interested in some of these types of products, make sure and check the link to my affiliate link page down in the description below and get you a set of these, and it helps out the channel a little bit, so appreciate that if you're looking for that. So if you've got your heart set on fix-it sticks, I've had them both, and I can tell you these are just as good, for a lot less money. So anyway, thanks to Wheeler for sending these over. They do the same job, right? They've just got these little barrels that come off, and these are all preset to different inch pounds. You've got your handle that fits on there, and then your various bits that fit down in the end. So since these are action screws, and I'm going to set them to 65 inch pounds. I've been getting criticized by guys lately. They're like, "Hey man, you should tell us what you do for torquing." And I'm like, I always say that I torque them properly, but I never show that I torque them. So apparently that's bad. So here you go, for you guys that need me to show you that I actually torque them. This is for you. Always start with the front one. There we go. Torque to 65 inch pounds. Just that simple. It's nice of them to include a little Picatinny rail section underneath here. It is polymer, which, I don't know, I don't load into my bipods all that much, so it's probably not going to be that big of an issue for me. But anyway, we're going to get that guy put on. I never know what you guys might want to see. You know, a lot of times I just cut this kind of stuff out, this like tedious little stuff. I'll be like, I installed this, and don't show you that I installed it. People tend to want to see all the steps. So there you go, all the steps. So I'm just going to stage these guys maybe right there, because I can't seem to turn that any further with my weak hands. Alright, let's make sure those actually turned where they're supposed to be. Yep, looks like they did. So that lets us get a bipod on there. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. We need a scope, we need a suppressor, and we need to get our butts out to the range. Alright guys, so I decided on the Brownells MPO. This is a 3-18 by 50 set of MDT rings that I had laying around. Sorry guys, KRG MDT mixed parts, but it's what I had. And so trying to do this kind of on the cheap, or as cheap as I possibly can anyway. Let's go ahead and get that thrown on there. Ooh, that's going to be really high, isn't it? I mean, the height doesn't really matter, but I also don't love it. Those are a set of high rings, and I might have to go with mediums, but I don't have any of those right now. So we're gonna go ahead and leave this on here and just deal with the extra height. It really just boils down to an aesthetic thing. I just don't like the way it looks. I want it to sit a little bit lower. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this guy torqued on there. Again, with the Wheeler fat sticks. I like to go 45 inch pounds on my bases and 25 on my rings. It's pretty standard. Some places will, you know, they'll specify a slightly different spec, but that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to angle this guy a little bit so I can actually get to this. Just going to get all these down sort of snug, and then I'll show you the pattern that I use to tighten these. It's nothing special per se, but kind of comes from the one-piece mounts like Spur that wants you to tighten things down in a particular order. I like to go first, third, second, fourth as I tighten these down. Just going a little bit on each until they finally click over. And we're going to finish our rings at 25 inch pounds, which I technically did downstairs, so that's why you're hearing it click over already. Forgot. Okay. Mounted up, ready to roll. Just one thing remains. And that is the crowning jewel, in my opinion, personally, but you know. Let me get these out of the way. Oh, SilencerCO Harvester big bore. Because I can, okay? That's why. Because I can. Locked. And now she just became a super long boy. But as I said earlier, at least I think I said it, I've got doctors that work night shift as my neighbors a little ways away. And if I can quiet down my gunfire for them, seems like a good thing to do to keep up relations. So next steps, guys, let's get it out to the range, put some ammo through it, and see how it performs. And then, you know, we'll go from there. All right, guys, we got the Howa 1500 out here, 100-yard target set up. And I put one shot down there, 50 yards, just to make sure I was going to be anywhere close on paper. I wasn't quite sure about the rail and the scope mount and all that. There's nothing wrong with those, just that they're different than what I have used so far. So I've got one round on paper down there. So this will be my first shot at 100 yards, just trying to see where we're at on paper. You might notice this little tool up here on the front. It is called a sight-in tool. A guy sent me that. I'll leave a link in the description. You fire a shot and then you adjust the red dot in the sight-in over the top of your dot, and it helps you just kind of sight in your target a little bit better. So again, 100 yards down here, gonna go ahead and fire a shot, see where we're at. Make our adjustments, maybe put a rooster up down there to shoot at. Why he comes out right when I wanna make videos, I don't know. Here we go, round number one. All right, I see our shot. Okay, now we're adjusting this down to our shot on our target. And then we're gonna make our scope match up with the red dot down there. Roughly there. Turn this off, take this off of here. And now when we fire our second shot, we should be a lot closer to center. Kind of a handy little tool. All right, so micro adjustments here. All right, guys, ready to put first group down here at 100 yards, I believe. It should be close enough to an aiming dot that we can tell. So again, I'm gonna have to individually load these. So I'm gonna do my best not to come off of the rifle every single time for accuracy's sake. This is the 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match. I'm gonna give it a try here. Good, no pressure signs there, fired successfully. Love the sound of that suppressor, don't you guys? Man, I don't know if you can hear it on there, but with the, it's just awesome. I mean, these are supersonic rounds. I'm not wearing hearing protection, like it's that quiet. It's so good. Oh, I love that. Okay guys, second group of 5 down there. Well, I want to stop at a 3-shot group, but you guys would never believe me. Really hate that rooster. Me and the wife are going to have a little discussion. Why is it always the last shot? You're like feeling great about your group. Shot number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, basically touching. And then shot number 5. The heck, man. Always. And just for kicks and giggles, I wanted to give you guys a group with something different. So this is the Burger 175 grain OTM Tactical. So I'm gonna put 5 shots down there with this as well. See what we get. Ah. Alright guys, so I'm giving it one more group. I was able to scrounge up another type of match ammunition, and this is the Fiocchi Exacta match. This is 175 grain. I think they use the Sierra bullets for these. I'm gonna fire one more group, just giving it my best effort. 3 different ammos. I don't want to take the suppressor off. Again, noise issue out here where I live. Let's run down and take a look at those groups. Okay guys, so here's what we've got downrange. This was our first group right here. I'm going to throw measurements up on the screen for you, but I would have to guess that's probably in the neighborhoods of 1 1/4 inch, something like that. And that was Federal Gold Medal Match 168. We've got here our second group was Federal Gold Medal Match 168. We were looking better at under 1 inch on that one, and then I threw that last one out. We're going to include it. I would guess that one's probably sitting at 1 inch. And then we came over here with the Burger 175 grain. I expected this to shoot sub MOA out of that rifle, but the group actually grew. So that's probably a solid 2 inches. And then I wanted to give it one more type of ammo. So I came down here with the Fiocchi Exacta match, and that's a Sierra 175 grain. And we printed a similar size group to the Burger. So 3 different, fairly good, 2 specifically high end. The Federal Gold Medal Match is always great through a 308. And that Burger always shoots really well too. And apparently not today, unless there's something that I'm doing. It's always possible. I'll give you an average of all the groups and we'll see how it turns out. And we'll call that a 1 MOA gun or a 1.5 MOA gun or whatever it might be. Again, I'm not taking the suppressor off. I simply can't out here where I live. It would really annoy my closest neighbors and I don't want to do that. So there may be something going on there with harmonics and whatnot, but this is really more of a review of the rifle of itself, just how it feels, all those kinds of things. So let's get back up to the man cave and we'll finish this out. All right guys, let's finish this up with the results. I don't know what else to say. I paused just because I don't want to talk about the accuracy this time around. It's actually not horrible. I don't want to talk about the reliability. It's not horrible. Honestly, I just expected overall a better experience from the Howa 1500. Some of you know I have been writing articles for Gun University for some years now, and not very regularly. I have a handful of articles on there. At any rate, I love their rating system, their grading system that they use. So in talking about this rifle, I'm actually going to use that grading system because you're going to see this rifle written in an article on Gun University coming up pretty soon. So their rating system is an A through F rating, a school grade type rating. First thing being reliability, then accuracy, shootability, ergonomics, and finally value. And I'm just going to break it down in that way because I think it's helpful just to understand. So starting out with reliability. This Howa 1500 came in an AB Arms chassis. I didn't like the fact that it had an AR type, a very flimsy, mind you, a very flimsy, lightweight AR-15 type buttstock on the back. I wanted to take that chassis off of this barreled action and put something just a little more solid, a little better, a little more traditional. This is a crossover stock from KRG. It's called the Bravo, and it's kind of a mix between a chassis and a stock, right? You've got the stylings kind of like a chassis in that you get a vertical foregrip, which is actually better, I believe, you know, when it comes to any kind of positional shooting. And to me, every shot is positional other than prone, but how often do you really get a prone shot out in the world? So when you're hunting or whatever, most shots, that's what I'm trying to say, most shots are taken positional. So I like a vertical grip. This gives me that. I've got length of pull adjustments here via spacers. I didn't need any of those. I adjusted the cheek height to where I had good eye relief and everything was lining up properly with the Brownell's MPO optic up here, and I proceeded to shoot it. Guys, it functioned just fine. Like, there were no malfunctions, trigger didn't break, those sorts of things. The accuracy was a little bit questionable, could have been me. Actually, I know exactly what it was, and I'll tell you at the end here, but the reliability overall, the reliability overall was fine. It was acceptable. It wasn't exceptional, and it wasn't trash either. So if I had to give this a grade on this, it's probably gonna be a B-. The reason that I give it that is because the scope rail, the base rail here, came loose during shooting. I started to notice that my groups, even after initial zeroing, my groups started opening up and shifting more to the left. And I was like, well, that's pretty strange. I'm not heating up the barrel that much. Nothing else has changed. But I didn't bother to check that while I was out at the range. I just kind of went with it, and I thought, well, it's probably ammunition, right? Well, it ended up being that the base is actually slightly loose and got some play on me here. So I can't really count those last couple of boxes that I threw in there. The burger ammo, which typically shoots sub-MOA, and it was all of a sudden 2 inches. And then that Fiocchi Exacta match, which is usually sub-MOA, and all of a sudden it was 2 inches. But just prior to that, the Federal Gold Medal match shot a basically 1 MOA group. So I'm pretty sure that's the moment that this thing came loose on me and the wheels started to fall off, but I didn't realize that. So obviously that's on me, but also on them, because they should set their rail and it shouldn't come loose. I haven't fired this very much at all, a few hundred rounds maybe. So if that was installed correctly in the first place, it should not have come loose. That's just my opinion. It gets a B- in reliability. Now for accuracy, you know, I'm gonna take some groups that I shot with this rifle when it had the other chassis on it, the AB Arms chassis on it. I'm gonna take a group from there, and I'm gonna take these groups today, and I'm gonna average them all together, and I'm gonna give you a score on that. And here's what that looks like. So having seen that, you guys, the accuracy, I'm going to give that a B+. It's not in the A range because I consider any modern rifle now with good factory match grade ammo, if it doesn't shoot sub 1 minute, that's not really acceptable to me. These days, with the ammo the way it is and barrel manufacturing the way it is and just rifles to the quality level that we've come to expect, should shoot sub 1 inch at 100 yards. Pretty much all the time. And I'm not a bad shooter, in fact quite experienced, and so when I can't get it to do any better than that over many different types of ammunition, whether it's, you know, swapped into different stocks or chassis, it's not getting an A grade on that. It's getting a B+. So there's that. Shootability, you know, how fun is it? How good is it to just go out and shoot? Is it something that I would pick up out of the safe again and take out to the range because I like it, because everything feels good, works good, whatever? I think this guy is probably going to get a B in that range for me, because I just don't find myself trending towards picking this rifle up. You know, if I'm going to go out and just plink or have fun, I'm going to grab one of my custom bolt action that I know shoots sub ½ inch groups. If I'm going to go long range, I'm going to grab that. You know, if I want something that I'm just going to grab and take out to the range, general purpose all around, I can do stuff at 100 yards. I can do stuff out at 800, 900 yards. For me, I'm grabbing a Sig Cross. That's just kind of my grab and go choice. And so the fact that this one kind of just, again, it's not exceptional and it's not trash. It's just somewhere in the middle. So let's give that one, you know, the shootability, we're going to give that a B as well. Now onto ergonomics. The ergonomics of this are excellent. The KRG Bravo is just exactly what I needed. Swapping into this, it gives me a flat bottom here for shooting positional. I can put an Arca rail onto the bottom of here, and that helps me to you know, put it on a barricade bag if I'm shooting positional. You know, I've got the ability with the M-LOK slots on the bottom here to mount up a bipod, something like this Atlas cow, and that gives me some functionality there. That's great. It obviously completely free floats the barreled action here, fits well, looks good. I've got the vertical grip, which I like. It actually tends to orient my hand more correctly for a 90-degree trigger press. I really like that. Was able to get the right height out of the cheek riser. It's got kind of the sloped standard bottom like a typical hunting stock does, so you can slide it forward or backward on a rear bag in order to get elevation changes. The length of pull, of course, there were spacers included. I ended up not needing any of them. So ergonomics, I'm giving it an A for that. The KRG Bravo is excellent on the Howa 1500. And finally, value. You know, this particular Howa 1500, you can get these rifles anywhere from, let's say, oh, I don't know, $800 to $1,200, something like that. Maybe even cheaper than that. I haven't looked around just yet, but I know they make some cheaper versions of the Howa 1500 that are in those lower dollar ranges. This one that I got with the AB Arms chassis ended up being like $1,200 to $1,300, as I remember. I'll put the exact price up on the screen for you. Of course, if we were to just buy this, let's say Howa 1500 barrel action as a used rifle, we could expect to, you know, to pay significantly less, maybe in the range of $400 or $500 for a used barreled action that is still relatively nice. In theory, shoots well. If we hand loaded for it, we absolutely could get those groups down nice and tight. You know, and sitting in a KRG Bravo stock / chassis crossover stock like this, you know, that runs about $400, you really can get a nice semi-custom rifle, precision long rifle, for less than $1,000. Now, of course, if you're going to go with something like the Brownells MPO scope up on top that's right around $1,000, you're going to be closer to $2,000 for the entire setup if you kind of went that direction. But still, that's a pretty decent price in a world of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 custom precision rifles. If a guy's on a budget, this might be a good choice. So in terms of value, all of those things considered, I think I'm going to give it an A-. I think it's a good price point. It's not the most expensive by a long shot. It's definitely not the cheapest or junkiest by a long shot either. So guys, hopefully you found that video kind of breakdown of the Howa 1500, that complete, very long review today, helpful. If you did, please give a thumbs up and a comment down in the comments section. Make sure you check out our sponsor list. There's now just a single link below in the description that takes you to my website that's got all of the affiliate deals, all the discounts, coupon codes, the various deals that are over there. There's a lot of great stuff, so please make sure you check that out. Help support the channel, that would be great. And don't forget to check out Gun University. This article on this Howa 1500 will say much of what I just said, only in written form over there at Gun University coming up. So guys, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more great videos from Precision Rifle Network.